Greetings, one and all, and welcome back to Robocraft with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to the Epic Loot Update, one of the largest and most complex updates to hit Robocraft in a very, very long time. This is an update that's left some people incredibly happy, some people incredibly upset, and even more people incredibly confused. Honestly, this isn't an update that's too confusing, really. It's just a matter of so much has been changed all at once, it can be a little bit difficult to truly wrap our heads around it. So how we're going to be doing this video, and how I'm going to be explaining this update, rather than just randomly saying things about the update, just picking the most important bits, which I will still be doing, we're going to be treating it kind of like three mini patches. The crate patch, which is the change to the Robo Store, to the RP system, and the introduction of crates. The Galaxy Cash update, which is the change to the in-game currency you can purchase, and premium for that matter, because that's a big change by itself. And finally, and to me the most important change, the change to weapons. All weapons are now viable, is the concept. Even the smallest weapon can do as well as the largest weapon. The Mega Plasma does not outclass the smallest plasma, although it is very different. They are all different but all viable, is the idea they're trying to put across. But here we are to start off with the daily reward, so we can get into the crates and into the new Robit system. So every day you will get a crate. The rusted crate here is the poorest quality, going all the way up to the plutonium crates, I think it's called. So it seems I am correct, the protonium crate is the best crate you can get, and sadly the game did just crash on me because there was a hotfix which apparently bugged me out because of the screen I was in, which sadly opened up the crate for me apparently. So here we are with the rusted crate again. I've just destroyed 10 robots in single player, which has awarded me with the lowest tier of crate. Now all of the crates can give you any of the items, so you could potentially get a legendary item, which we'll be getting more onto in a second, from a rusted crate, but the chance is very, very slim. You are much more likely to simply get cubes, or perhaps one of the uncommon items, I believe it's called, the green items. It's a very similar system to a lot of other games, such as World of Warcraft, which springs to my mind with the epic being purple, rare being blue and such, and many other games like that, and gold being legendary. So, what's in our rusted crate, as I want to open one of these on camera? We get 2 uncommon, that's actually not too bad. We have the Mech 7 nose left, we actually just got a cosmetic, well done us, and we have a little track. So there we are, that's actually pretty good from a rusted crate, so I'm very happy with that. Let's collect both of those and go back to the main screen. So I hear you cry, how do you earn crates, and just how do you get the better ones if you're playing in games? Well, the crates are awarded to you for simply playing the game. Once you play a game, you will be awarded a crate, and depending on the game mode you play, you are awarded a different type of crate in terms of how many slots are actually inside of the crate. This also varies if you have premium to make up for, of course, the fact you're no longer getting bonus RP. So if you do Team Deathmatch, you will get a crate which will give you a grand total of 1 item. If you're premium, you will get 2 items. If you go and do the pit, you will get a crate containing 3 items, 6 if you're premium, and finally with Battle Arena, you will get a crate containing 4 items, and if you are premium, you will get 8 items, as you can imagine. The rarity of the crate depends on how you do. The better you do, the better the crate is. For instance, if you go into single player, you will get a rusty crate for 10 kills, a bronze crate for 25, 50 for silver, gold for 100, diamond for 200, and protonium for 400. Although I will say, how it's worded in the patch notes, it does say an additional bronze crate, silver crate, gold crate, so perhaps you always get the rusty and then the other is an additional bonus, so well done for you. But even so, you can get any of the items with any of the crates, which is pretty darn awesome, because Well, as you can see, some of the legendary items are pretty cool. These include the Mega Legs, the Carbon Thrusters, the Mega Wheels, and the Mega Weapons. Although I will stress now that technically speaking, the smaller weapons are not worse than the larger weapons with the new patch, which we'll be covering in a little while. So, we now know how to get crates. Now we move on to the RP changes and the Forge mode, which is simply the buying and selling, but different. Kind of. So, you open a crate and you get an item you don't want. What do you do with this item? Do you throw it at the enemy and hope it works? Do you put it on a robot which you never play with? Or do you do the best thing, which is recycle them? We are kind people here, and I would like to recycle this laser wasp. So as you can see, I continue to recycle them. I will get more Robits from the CPU. I then recycle it. There we are, I now have more Robits. We then go into the Forge mode, which is basically the purchase mode, and then I can purchase things. Now what I will say is this is woefully inefficient. If we sell one of the top laser wasps, for instance, we are only going to get 80 Robits. If we then go and purchase the top laser wasp, we're going to have to give it 400, which is a bit of a change. It's definitely a lot less efficient than the old system, which was a 50% system. If one of your items cost 100 to purchase, you could sell it for 50. Now it's actually less than a quarter, and that is certainly something which has raised a few alarm bells for a few people, and I certainly can understand that. And I actually have nothing else to say about that. It is just a very inefficient system. I'm not sure if I like it at all, but I'm of course a player of the game, so naturally I'm going to dislike this for the leveling series because it makes everything a little bit more difficult. So here we are in the cosmetics thing, and as you can see, once again, you can purchase everything with the Robits. Nothing is Galaxy Cash only because Galaxy Cash no longer exists. You don't need to technically purchase anything in terms of real money, and you can get everything now, including the cosmetics, the carbon variation of certain weapons. Everything is available now, which is at least a very positive change in my mind. So far, I do like the new loot system, but it is still a weird one, and I haven't played with it yet, so we'll see once I get back to the leveling series. So next, what's happened to Galaxy Cash? Where is my Galaxy Cash? Oh dear God, I purchased Galaxy Cash. Where is my money? Well, don't worry. It seems that we have been reimbursed completely for our unused Galaxy Cash, and actually, we have been reimbursed fairly generously, which I'm very happy to say, because it definitely isn't the same system that it used to be, so there should be a little bit of kindness when it comes to how much we are given in return for the premium we've purchased. So if we go into the Add Premium section here, we go into the Shop section, which has changed drastically. Of course, you no longer purchase Galaxy Cash, but you can purchase Premium. And of course, this is with real money. I've got a ridiculous amount on this account, because this is the account in which I have a press account, so I have basically infinite Galaxy Cash, which means that very large pool of Galaxy Cash I have at any time has been converted to £577, which can only be used in Robocraft, sadly. Not that I would have tried otherwise. But anyway, you can now purchase Premium, and you can actually purchase salvage crates. Now the salvage crates here I have tested, and they will give you 4 items. If you are not premium, they'll give you 4 items. If you are premium, they will give you 8 items. At least that's seemingly what it looks like. I'm not sure if you get 8 from not being premium, but by the looks of it, that's definitely the case, and if that is the case, I will make sure to put it in the description. If I'm wrong, please always check the description in these things. If I've said something wrong, there's a good chance I've noticed later, as more of the patch is explored by the player base. Anyway, you can purchase these with real money. Now, when I say we've been given back the money generously, it's because if you have ever purchased Galaxy Cash, you will know there were a lot of options. options. We had the starter option, which was only one day of Galaxy Cash, a very small lump of Galaxy Cash, and then we have the biggest option, which is the largest lump of Galaxy Cash and the most efficient. If you purchased the most efficient one or the smallest one, it will still give you a refund as if you purchased the smallest one, which is the least efficient, which means, let's say, for 100 Galaxy Cash, it costs £1, because I'm British, deal with it. And if you were to purchase 1,000 Galaxy Cash, it would only cost you £3 because of the discount. Well, they have reimbursed you. If you had that 1,000 Galaxy Cash from that £3, you will get 10 of the small 100 Galaxy Cash packs, which means you'll be given back £10. So if you've only ever purchased the least efficient, you will be given back, sadly, equal amounts. If you've been purchasing the most efficient, particularly from a lot of the bundles, you are going to be given back a lot of money, which means you can buy a lot of crates or a lot of premium. As you can see here, I could have several years of premium or lots and lots of crates. Likely lots of crates because I like opening things. So that is the new money element to the game. That is now how you can purchase things in the game. One of the major complaints I've had by quite a few people, as always I try to balance the complaints and the positives, but one of the major complaints which I certainly have recognised and has dawned on me is a little bit of a sad thing, is because you can't purchase specific items. If you get particularly unlucky with the crates, you could end up paying a lot more than the old cost of the item. For instance, if I wanted one of the carbon lasers, I can no longer go ahead and simply go, okay, I want this carbon laser, I don't have enough Robits, I want to simply purchase it with money, so I'll go ahead and purchase 12 crates. Sadly, with those crates, I don't get the laser, and I get very poor luck. Although that's very unlikely, and it does seem like it is rigged so you get some luck. But either way, it can be a little bit disheartening with how much it actually costs to then purchase this. If I was only getting rares, if I was only getting epics, even the epics being not so much Robits back, it could potentially mean I've paid quite a lot for this. Although, if I am a very wily consumer, I will simply keep the items I've got and then go ahead and farm crates with those items and enjoy that as well. So, anyway, that's just a bit of a weird element of it. It's kind of a symptom of the change, sadly unavoidable, and I do like the crate system as a whole, but that's not the episode. Today we're just talking about the update. So next, let's talk about the weapons. Now this is one of the most confusing elements of the update by far. How have the weapons changed, and why is this little dinky laser just as good as this very big scary laser? So here we are with the weapon changes. Definitely one of the weirder changes of the patch, and one of the most argued about. Some people are loving this, some people are hating this, and I personally am starting to see its merits, but I'm still a little bit on the fence about it, to be perfectly honest. The basic concept is a good concept. All weapons are now viable. The tiny little laser wasp is just as viable as the laser leviathan. If you get into a battle with either, you are pretty much decently weighted to do well. At least, that's the concept. The laser wasp is no longer simply, for instance, a version of the disintegrator. Beforehand, they both fired at the same rate, but one did significantly less damage for how much energy it cost. That is no longer the case. With the lasers, as you go down and get smaller, as you can see, the nominal fire rate and the single gun fire rate is increasing rapidly. The smallest one here, the nominal fire rate being at 15.87 per second, basically meaning it's around about 16 shots per second, for only 0.78% of your energy per shot. Of course, if you're shooting 16 times per second, your energy is still going to go down pretty darn quickly, but this means you can do a lot of damage at 3,798 per hit. If you somehow hit all of those hits, you are going to shred pretty much any enemy. The downside, however, of course, if you're shooting that fast, your reticule is going to become incredibly inaccurate incredibly quickly. So long-range battles, definitely not the top laser wasp's forte, or the front laser wasp for that matter. If we contrast that, however, to the disintegrator, this is shooting only 4.22 times per second. However, it's hitting for a whopping 14,000 per hit, although it's also consuming 3.5% of your energy per shot, meaning this is definitely better over long range rather than short range, although this is going to absolutely shred everything at short range, making them fulfill different roles. Thus, again, the idea is they are both viable in a battle. Now, each weapon has been changed like this differently. The full patch notes are in the description if you'd like to see every change, because there's too many changes really to cover. Some of them are like the smaller Tesla doesn't consume any energy but does far less damage. The Tesla Nova, however, consumes 100% of your energy but simply explodes and does a lot of damage, or at least that's how it used to be in the old patch notes. Actually looking at this now, it seems to have changed in terms of power consumption. Either way, does a lot of damage, but it does definitely cost a lot more power. The nanobinder is pretty much the same. The power consumption is 0, but it heals for very, very little. The constructor heals for a whopping amount, but also takes up all of your energy in seconds. And then the Leviathan laser, going with the laser theme, I really should have mentioned, is very similar to the disintegrator, costing a lot of power per shot, but also doing a lot of damage. It seems I am covering them all, so let's just finish it off, I suppose. The Plasma Goliath is a massive weapon now, a mortar shell of plasma, dealing a whopping amount of damage, 90,000, and having a huge blast radius of 25 meters. Sadly, it is consuming over 1/3 of your energy per shot. So say goodbye to your energy very, very quickly. The little pulsar, in comparison, is only consuming 6.6% of your energy. However, the blast radius is only 5 meters. It can also fire faster by the looks of things. Actually, now I've said that, no it can't. The nominal fire rate is actually the same, although the single gun fire rate is different. And of course, this is also doing a lot less damage, but you can basically volley plasma for a very long time with the pulsar, and again, it serves very different purposes. The rail is actually a lot simpler. The larger gun does more damage and takes more energy, the smaller gun takes less energy and does less damage. Hurrah for that, it's all pretty nice and simple, and the nominal fire rate is actually the same, although the nominal count is different because you aren't really expected to have, let's say, 12 rail erasers on your robot. If you do that, you may be a little bit insane. And so we move to the final large change to the game in this patch, at least large enough to have its own section of the video, the Robot Factory. Now this is a weird one. In fact, I've said that far too many times this video, but this is also a weird change which I'm still trying to fully understand myself. So I'm going with the patch notes and their literal interpretation for everything I'm saying here. With the Robot Factory, it no longer costs you any Robits to put the robot on the factory. It is now completely free, which is awesome. Once the robot's on the factory, of course, it's no longer a case of you having to purchase certain things with Galaxy Cash, which means if you want to put glass on your robot or any of the cosmetics, that's absolutely fine now. People won't have to shovel out Galaxy Cash to purchase it, simply because Galaxy Cash no longer exists. We can only use Robits, and that's where it becomes weird. For instance, let's say I wanted this little track robot here. Isn't it adorable? I could either pay the full forge cost or the inventory forge cost. Now, the inventory forge cost is changed depending on how many of the blocks of the robot I already own in my inventory. Of course, I own every type of block here because it's all pretty low tier basic stuff, and so it's completely free. The full forge cost is if I want all of the items in addition, so I am purchasing every single item as if I'm purchasing it in the forge. Now this is where it gets a little bit confusing, and I'm sorry that the mouse once again is going to go away now as I read quoting the community changes. So here we are. Crafters submitting robots to the CRF will receive an increased 25% earnings, up from 10%, of all Robits spent on their robots. And that is the kind of confusing part. Spent on their robots. If I don't spend on this robot, will the person who created it get any Robits? I'm assuming not, because that would cause a very odd chain effect for the economy of Robocraft, meaning people could basically infinitely give RP or Robits to everyone. I don't like this. I don't like this at all, but I do understand where they're trying to come from with this. But again, it's something we're going to need to see for the future. Perhaps this is the best system ever and I simply haven't experienced it enough. That could be the case. I mean, with these patches, it is a first look and just an analysis of what I'm given by the patch notes and a very limited experience. So let's purchase it. Nope, never mind, I'm sorry, you're not getting any Robits today. And that is that for the major changes. There are so many smaller changes, I could continue going on for a lot longer. But since the video is already dragging on, I would like to say this is the end of the video. One final mention I will say, however, is that Premium now gives you experience. A small note which is very important for people who are new to the game and trying to level up. The leveling process, particularly in the higher levels, has become a bit of a slow one, particularly if you're like me and you can't stand Battle Arena and only play Team Deathmatch. So the Premium XP bonus is very, very welcome and certainly makes it a little bit more worthwhile for those considering purchasing it. And with that, we are done. Please tell me in the comments below, is this a good patch? Is this a bad patch? Give me your honest feelings and try to be as polite as possible. People can be a bit heated when it comes to patches that change the game in major ways. But I seriously do want to see what the community feels about this patch. It's a very complex one and it's changing Robocraft at its very core once again, and in some seriously major ways. So, negatives and positives, go! And with that, if you have enjoyed the video, likes, favourite, shares, comments, and all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Robocraft is a series you wish to see continued in the future. Soon I'll be doing a few videos, a few gameplay videos of me testing out the new items, in terms of the new changes to the weapons, I should say. So be prepared for that. Thank you again for watching, and goodbye.